Sorry, Zoe. I thought I'd just let you keep dancing away.
I didn't know you could see me. Oh, damn.
And there you have it,
did he
folks.
kick me out? I'm like, did he kick me out of the podcast? That was quick. That's what I thought.
No, I gave you the
That
full
was
thing.
I thought it was just a prank.
Yeah.
But okay. But it
Hey,
was pretty
everyone.
groovy.
Hey, it was really groovy. Look, I'm even giving you some background music here just for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, Assalamu alaikum Salman. Good to have you on the
Walaikum
show.
assalam.
And Assalamu alaikum to everyone out there. Welcome to Iceland Podcast. We've got a good one for you today. We have some other guests here as well. Mr. Imad Hussein.
Slapping guys.
And the classic Omar Sawi. Assalamu boys.
Calling me old?
Arif,
Calling me
I thought
old.
I was
old.
a guest. I thought I was a guest.
No, bro, you're
No, we're all family here, man. No guess.
I want this guy kicked off. Look at this. Take that hat off. Take that hat off right now. Nobody wants to see that.
I do. It's
Well,
better
they're
than
on a 5-game losing streak.
Alhamdulillah.
Are these still?
They lost 2 of those games to. I mean, never mind.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
As usual.
We don't talk about. We don't. Hey, listen. We don't talk about Bruno, and we don't talk about how bad the Leafs are, okay, or the Jets for the rest of the podcast. Okay.
I know that.
That's
Although Bruno's catchy, but
What about the others?
they lost.
Yeah, they 3-1, right?
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, let's get started here. So yeah, first of all, thank you everyone for joining. You know, it's nice to have like a full house to talk about these games. You know, it was very lonely, especially for Imad last week. Sorry, buddy, had some things that come up. So thank you for taking the lead and then making sure the podcast still happens. So to make up for it, we just got a full house here for you today.
Awesome.
All right, so let's get into it. Last week we obviously had some good games, and the first game of the night was Asan versus Iman, and here you have a 3-2 win for Asan, and I believe that was their first win because they were 0-2, I think. Right?
Yeah, and I mean, we were going into this week talking about how. Well, I guess I was going into this week talking about how they really needed to win, being winless or without one of the 2 teams without any points going into the 4th week of the season. And lo and behold, they came out with a win. Isawi, you played in that game. What happened there?
I barely played in that game. It seems. We came out to like a really sluggish start. Like it was so bad. It looked like honestly, I wasn't on for the first shift, but from the bench, it just looked like everybody was running a quicksand. Like it was terrible. We had the benefit of having the game footage to review afterwards. And so in the process of splicing the goals against, like if you look at the reaction times of the defensemen, myself included, it's like a half-second delay. Like when you watch yourself play, it's like, what was I thinking on that play? Like it was so bad. And they definitely took advantage. Asan went up 3-0 in the first period before we decided to even wake up. And I mean, to Iman's credit, I guess if we can offer any credit to Iman in this loss, is that we came out really, really hard in the second period. Like we made a concerted effort to the point where I was informed that Asan didn't even get a shot on net in the second period, right? And that's sort of the potential that Iman can play at. But it's 2 games now where we've lost 3-2. And it's just not been a performance that we've been proud of. So I think Iman especially, we got to figure out how to close out games, but also a quicker start. I know guys don't like 8 p.m. games, but it is a reality. Like you can't be walking onto the rink and getting dressed on the rink. Like, that's not how you prepare for a game. And just in speaking to Dawood after the game, he said like we made a plan. Everybody came early, and we got our minds straight right before the game, and it looked like it. They came out and they were hungry for the win. So I think in this case it was just a matter of who wanted it more, and Asan wanted it more in the beginning. And shout out to Black Bear as well. He really stood on his head in the second period for Asan, and he was really in my opinion, the first star of the game.
Yeah. So, man, any comments from you on
Omer,
this?
you know who? Can I just say one thing? The only person that can actually get ready on the bench and play well is Uzzer. He's literally the only person that I've seen
That's his
get
effort.
dressed on the bench and play well.
But,
Yeah,
but
I don't think
he
anyone else
partially
can really
comes
do it.
dressed already. He has all his
Yeah, he
stuff.
does.
He just kind of shows up, takes his
That's
jacket on,
true. That's
and he's
true.
also the fastest out of the rink as well. He doesn't even bother
Yeah,
going back to the.
No, you'll have a banana and stretch a little bit too, but that's probably it. But you know what I really like about Uzzer, just as a complete side
Yeah.
note, is the fact that he also has a Jets hat. That's all. Sorry,
He's a what?
I'll
that's all I gotta say. He has a Jets hat.
Oh,
Well,
Jets.
I'll give you one little fun fact about Azur, and sorry Azur if I'm revealing your secrets, but back in the day, he would come into the locker actually early, and he had to take a pregame dump, and if he didn't, he did not play well. That was the running joke.
You know what?
I think he stopped.
I know
There's
someone
quite a few
else-
guys like that. Not
There is,
necessarily in our
yeah.
league,
Yeah, I
but
was
there
gonna
are a lot
say.
of guys like
Ritual
that.
of many.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's not in the same locker room and they go to another locker room, it's all good. Oh, okay.
But you know what? We would always win, or you would perform well. So I'm like, all right, that's fine. Do you?
So Sawi, you're basically saying that Iman played like Isan and Isan played like Iman, really, to get the win. The tables.
You know what? I guess so. I think that one feedback I have, I guess, for Iman being on the team is that as of right now, I don't know that we're getting contributions throughout the entire lineup, and this is from myself included, right? On this particular team, I am on the second pairing, and I have not done much of anything, right? And so I do think that if we're going to be successful this season, we need to get contributions from up and down the lineup and not just rely on our top five, if you want to call them that.
Yeah. So speaking of taking a big dump, welcome to Takwa. We are 0-3. Yeah, it's not going too well for us, which is really strange because we have such a phenomenally talented lineup, at least on paper. I will say we played really well this game, better than our other two games, but we still managed to take the loss. I can talk more about it, but Emma, I don't know if you saw the game from outside, but if you did, what were your thoughts on?
Well, I mean, like Rida they've turned it around, right? They had that one game the first week where they had a close, I think it was a 3-2 loss or something like that to Suburb, snowstorm and everything in between that. But after that, they've looked really, really good. The team's gelling. You can see that a lot of players, and we joke about it, that they're all Cambridge guys, but that's really working in their favor. They know how, where the guys are going to be, their playing styles and everything, and it works well for them. So I think they're actually a very scary team. They might not be right at the top of the standings, but I think they have a very good likelihood to get there at the end of the season. When it comes to Takwa, they're still trying to play that run and gun style of game, but with a different set of players. Like a couple of the core guys are still there. Actually, quite a few of the same guys are still there. But there's some major differences, right? So you have Ayaz Patel, who's no longer there. You have
Zahir Kazi.
Zahir Kazi, that's what I was thinking about. He's no longer there. They're not playing with Kapoor in net anymore. It was for the first time, and I'm not saying that Musa isn't a great goalie. I mean, letting in 2 goals is not a bad thing in ball hockey, right? I mean, that should get you a win. But for some reason, it's just not working. What I have seen in games past also is a lot of odd man rushes going the other way. And that has burned them at times because you can't just rely on your goalie to do that. But, I just don't know what the solution is for the team right now.
The matter is you can't score 2 goals all season and hope to win some games.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
I mean, look, I think that it has not worked with their top 5. That's just the reality, right? I mean, all of the entire top 5 of talk about are highly skilled guys. Like I've played with this GM trio in the past, right? And I know that they're playing, not to their potential. We have a guy like Shakib Ahmed, who is an immense talent.
He wasn't there
But
last week.
yeah, he wasn't there, but I mean, we played against this team in the first week, and he's such a great talent. He has such great hands, but in my opinion, I believe the problem is that he needs the ball as much as the other GMs need the ball, and you can't have that, right? That's, and I see a lot of frustration, especially in zone entry, because you have Shakib maybe carrying it, or you have Yusuf carrying it, both guys who are possession heavy guys, and then they get to the line and then nobody knows what to do from there, right? So that needs to be cleaned up. I don't know if there's a shakeup that's necessary or not, but I do think that there has to be something that's done, or at least some kind of game plan. Like you can't just come in there and say, well, you know what, let's just wait for them to gel. Like we're 4 games deep at this point, and I
Yeah.
think we need to
Quarter of the
make some
season is done.
changes.
Quarter
Yeah,
of the
there you
season.
go.
Someone, did you watch this game? Did you have any thoughts? Is it Takwa
No.
losing or is it Rida winning here? What's more?
Listen, I think I think Takwa needs some trades, right? Like it's obviously not working. So, um, are you on the chopping block, RF?
Probably am, but I did tell Abu that if I don't show up, then who's going to bring the ball and the first aid kit? I'm doing a lot of
Oh,
those team
Oh,
bench management
right,
duties.
right,
guys,
right,
I like
Plus,
that.
right.
since
Guys,
I
guys,
yep. Plus,
guys that
since
made
I
themselves
haven't been,
valuable.
you know what? I haven't been scoring since last season, I should say,
You have as
0.
many goals as
So
I do.
right. So, but I was joking to Sani and Asan Zaidi. They're like, you know what, boys? I've come to the portion of my career where I'm now no longer an offensive threat. I am now your third line defensive forward. So I've embraced that role.
I know,
Um,
and
I,
you had some great
No,
shifts too,
you're
RF.
better
No,
than that.
RF also had some great shifts in that game. I
Yes.
watched the back half of it after I came out of the locker room. Um, it's just what is a stark difference for me seems to be like the zone entry from last season, right? And you see, maybe Mohammed Shabir Patel, right? He was a big factor in how they were able to enter the
yeah,
zone, and just the speed, right, that was available to them. And unfortunately, I just don't see I'm seeing a lot of Takwa getting turned away at the blue line, right, and
yeah.
then they're just being sent the other way. So something has to change, and I don't know that this team is fast enough for a dump and chase
I would
anymore.
also say that one thing
Well,
I've noticed, like from the bench and obviously playing, is that even when we do get the zone, we don't have a lot of cycling. It's usually one play, a couple of extra passes that we shouldn't be doing instead of shooting, and then it's over, right? The ball goes the other way. Whereas a team like Rida, what they really did well was when they did get the zone entry, they were cycling, they were grinding it in the corner. We couldn't do much against them when they started that. We don't do that.
if I can just add a couple of
Yeah,
other things too. I mean, at least when we played them, played Takwa too, it seemed like they were like changing their lineups. Defensemen were going forward, forward were going to defensemen. It almost seems like there's a low mentality. Like the mentality is not really there. And I think that starts from the GMs downwards, right? So if they're not taking it seriously, then is the rest of the team taking it seriously? Is there a serious game plan? Do they actually even want to win? Or is this just for
well,
fun? I mean,
I won't go
this
that
is
far.
not
I won't go that
Sunday.
far.
okay, this
Hey,
is where
I'm
I got to stand
saying
up for my
this is not
GMs.
Sunday pickup. Yeah, this is not Sunday
No, no,
pickup
this
hockey,
is where I
right?
have to stand up for
So
my GMs. So no, they do take it seriously. People like guys like Hazi and Abu, they take it very seriously, right? They take it seriously and they want to win. And I will say, in the locker after the games, we are disappointed with our effort, but we're making small strides, and it's very positive. They keep saying, "Hey, look, guys, we've had seasons where we went undefeated, and we lost, and other times when we didn't play well, and then we turned around later in the season. So anything can happen. So there's a lot of positivity within the locker room.
I dare I say that this is the Rida from fall season, where you have a lot of talent on the team, including Arfan, and
Maybe I'm the problem.
yeah, and you know what? It's just not translating on
Takwa,
the
yeah.
floor. But another thing to call out, and someone thanks for the tip is correction on the scoreboard here. The third star, the goalie is actually Khizr Ahmed. So he's another Cambridge guy. Shiraz hasn't been available the last 3 weeks, and Kizzer has filled in admirably. And he, not that Shiraz had any issues, but Shiraz is 0-1, and Kizzer is 2-0-1. So I think 2-1 or 3-0. But something to keep an eye on when Shiraz
I
gets
feel like
back tomorrow.
I feel like we've seen that before, where a fill-in goalie will actually make that big of a difference in the game. So should be pretty interesting. To your point, let's see how Shiraz does.
Yeah. Well, you know what? On the last personal note, positive note, for me, I've actually done pretty well on face-offs, which I usually suck at. I was 7 of 8, and to the point that even Wakar and Salman, they all came over and said, "Oh, you're killing us on the face-off." I'm like, "I'm getting lucky." So yeah, Abu, if you trade me, you won't get the face-offs, and you won't get the balls and the
The Lota.
lota.
Yeah.
All right. So game number 3. This is a Suburb versus Ikhlas, and it's a 4-3 win for Suburb. And I believe, Salman, you played in this one. I think you even took a penalty, did you not?
He's won every game.
No.
Was that the
No.
last
I don't take penalties. In fact, I go into the penalty box when it's not actually my penalty. That's happened to me before. But I will say this was a hard-fought battle. But I still think there's something about Suburb, man. They have it figured out. I think we came out of the gate. We did a little bit, but it was a tough one. It was a tough one to win, man. Really, it was frustrating. But I think our key is really just to use our speed, right? And
Mhm.
we may not have done that in the beginning of the game, so they got one by us for sure. Yeah.
Man, they're rolling, and I mean, if I don't know, is it like a yellow thing because they went undefeated last season as well?
Oh, they lost the
But
last
credits,
season.
yeah. Oh yes, that's correct. Don't remind me. Don't remind me. But I mean, they've done really really well, right? And
Yeah.
one interesting thing about this trio is that they're all younger. If you want,
Mhm.
put them that way. I guess in relation to us, right? They're younger, and the amount of poise and the amount of resilience that they show, like even when they're down, that they don't let it get to them, right? Or when they've been scored on, like a lot of younger guys will sort of slump their shoulders, and
Mhm.
they'll start fighting on the bench, right? But these guys, they just keep rolling, right? And I think that's a big credit probably to Mohib and Bika as well, right? They seem to be common presence on that team. And Mohib's doing his job, right? Mohib is there. He was picked in the first round, and he was picked to score, and that's exactly what he's doing. So big shout out to Mohib and also Naeem. Naeem and Mohib seem to have very very good chemistry together,
Yeah.
and Naeem is one of those guys that kind of flies under the radar a little bit. I feel as well. He's a big boy and has great hands and a nice release, but I think he's probably living in a bit of his younger brother's shadow as well.
He didn't fly under the radar last week with Ali Khwaja, that's for sure.
Yeah, what
Yes,
happened?
I think he shot it after the whistle, and Ali took exception to that. But no, look,
I was just gonna
full credit.
say, I just want to say that Naeem's also one of the nicest guys you'll meet. I had the pleasure of being on his team, and he's such a nice guy in the locker, so positive. And then you tell me that he shot it at Ali, which makes it even more funny.
Yeah, but no,
Clearly didn't. He
big,
didn't hear
big,
it.
big.
He didn't hear the whistle.
Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah, I mean, when
Very
you're locked in
intentional.
like that, sometimes you don't hear it. But no,
Yeah.
big shout out to these guys and a credit to
Yeah.
these guys. Mom Claire is playing defense this season. He was kind of floating back and forth last season, but it
Hmm.
seems to be that he's found good chemistry with Tayyib, I think, and they're allowing Bilal and Mohib and Asif to take control of the offense. I think that team is 2 player of the weeks already, right? I think that Mohib and Bika have it, so I think they're trying to collect enough to take the whole team to GC Burger. That's what they said. If they're going to make the drive from the East End to GC Burger, they want to take the whole team. But again, and then also credit to Yusuf Kapoor, right? Like it's really, really uh, as a defenseman, like if you're confident your goalie is going to make that save, right, then you
Hmm.
can play a little bit more freely, right? And I think that's what they're finding in Yusuf. And I think there's some guys at the rink. They were talking about like, how Yusuf in the beginning of his Iceland career, he was maybe not the best goalie, but he's really grown into this individual that will steal you games quite literally. So he seems to have the vote for best goalie in Iceland, at least in terms of his body of work for the last couple of seasons. So big shout out to these guys.
It seems like DC is a fan of Mac.
The one thing I'm gonna say is, especially for a class, the untimely penalties really hasn't worked in our favor. I mean, it comes down to that gritty play. Obviously, we run a lot, we grind hard, but it's tough. We're gonna lose on those power plays, right, or on those penalty kills.
And 2 games in a row, your team has taken a penalty for having an old jersey.
Yeah, it's because you stand outside
like
waiting for him to see his jersey. I mean, listen,
It's
but
the rules.
the other team,
It's
the
the
other team
rules.
called it too.
It's the rules. It's the
called it
rules.
too.
But after the game, I will say that I tried to throw that jersey in the garbage. He didn't let me. He's like, no, I'll bring the next. I'll bring the jersey. I'll bring the right jersey next time. So let's see.
Yeah, I mean the problem is you
right?
also have 2 18s on the team, and like you would think that would do well to like double someone's stats, but it's not. Right. So I don't know who the other 18 is, but it's what seems to be the problem on your end? Fine, I mean every team takes penalties, but why are you losing?
Yeah,
I'm asking you.
I'm on the third line, man. What do you want me to do? I'm a role player, But I will say, listen, I'm very proud of our third line because we've scored in back-to-back games. So
this was the game where Mudney had that insane shift.
Yeah.
It was so good that I'm gonna splice it from our video. It was so good. I watched it the other day when I was trying to do highlights, but he was a beast. Oh my god, like he was an immovable object in front of the net. It was crazy. That was like an unreal sequence big shout out to Mudney, man. That was like he did that by himself. Like that was crazy.
We got a little jab.
That is quite literally. So that's very insulting. First and foremost, the first last game, I told him to shoot. All right, I gave him that verbal assist first and foremost, and number 2, I hustled for the ball, and yeah, he had a great shot, and everything else after that I had nothing to do with. But I was on the line, so please.
I didn't see you.
I think Sully wants player of the week.
Yeah, there's no Mudney. There's no Mudney without Salman Azmat, all right? Or Abdullah.
We've got Tayyab here who's making a bit of a jab here at RC.
No points.
Tayyab should have been on the podcast. I don't know. He should have been on the podcast.
Yeah, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's watching it. Why isn't he on?
That's crazy. Mohammed's supposed to be here. Tayyab's supposed to be here. They're here, but not here. You know what I'm saying?
These kids, man, like you can't rely on them. They'll just be at home taking jabs, but not showing.
Camera shut it if it's not on TikTok.
Well, I mean, they had a bad season last year, and it seems like everybody was pointing the finger at everybody else, right? So, far, it seems like Tayyab has the Tayyab seems to be in the right so far. But we'll see how it goes.
All right, so next game was Yakin and Haya, and Haya is another one of those teams that is winless, although they do have a couple of ties, so that at least they have some points. But they were still looking for their first win, and they did not get it. This ended up in a 2-2 tie.
Yeah, I mean, this is it felt like a loss for us. We really thought we should have played better, and we didn't. I mean, there are a lot of things that we messed up. Our zone entry was not great. We lost lots of balls lost in the neutral zone, and we just weren't first to the ball a lot of times when we should have been. But that being said, all credit goes to Haya. They played a good game. At the same time, Isawi, I think we were talking about Mohamed Shabir Patel and the impact that he had on Tukwal last season, and this is the first time I'm on a team with him, and you just see him out there. As soon as he goes out there, like the ball follows him around, right? Like he has such a huge impact, both from a defensive end and also offensively. Obviously, shows up on the score sheet. I think every game, and he might actually be near the top in scoring in the league. I'm not sure.
Yes, he's number 1, 6 points. He's tied with Mohib.
But I mean, there's no reason why we couldn't have popped in a couple more goals. Like there's so much talent on this team. You look at guys like Faizan Ghazi, I think it is. He has so many chances. I think he's had a couple go off the iron, not go in. I truly believe that we have a very strong team in Yakin, but we need to be better. We have the pieces. We just need to have the effort there, and maybe it's the 11 o'clock games. I don't know. I'm not making excuses, but that is also what the team has requested. So it is what we have to live with, and I might be half asleep for most of those games, but I'll show up.
There's also a lot of talk for people who are watching games and watching Yakin play is how impressed everyone is with Farouk Khan's play. First for overall, I mean he's obviously
Which
one of the
one?
best players.
Rookie
There's two for.
I
Which
know
one
the
for
one that
Rukan?
won first overall.
Greenbirds
Oh, okay.
Farouk.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's
He's
like
phenomenal this year.
yes, I mean I've seen him play in Islam for a number of years, but this is the best he's looked
He's
in
dominating.
since I've been playing. Right, he is everywhere basically, and I don't know. I mean, it might just be the chemistry that he has with these guys as well, but
Yeah.
he's playing very very well. Like I mean, this is defenseman of the year type of play.
And there were rumors that he wasn't going to be that great this season, and some people were shocked or not shocked. They were expecting him to go first overall or in the first round, but like they're questioning whether he should or not. So that's been great. And then you have guys like Omer Inger and you know Sulu Mohamed Patel, the other Mohamed Patel, who got a nice goal there. So we're getting chances. There's a lot of play around throughout the lineup, but we do need to be better. But then Haya played a solid game. Like Suf, he's Suf, right? He's shifty. We talked about it before going into the game. How he's super shifty. He's fast, and he's gritty all at the same time. And lo and behold, he comes out with a goal, right? So play well.
Absolutely. Someone, did you already go home by now? Or you just didn't come out of the locker?
No, I definitely was on my way home. Iman wants me to watch him play, but I reject him every time. I'm hard to get,
The other thing I want to call out is Yusuf Ahmed Siddiqui with another goal.
What, another one?
Another one, I believe. Yeah, not as impressive as his goal from 2 weeks ago, but he's probably up there in the scoring race as well. And
I think he has 5 points.
Yeah, and you know what? He's taking this league by storm.
There's some guys that just have it. When it comes to scoring goals, like there's some guys that they just have such a high shooting percent. Like a guy like Mohib, right? Like Mohib, most of the time when he shoots, it goes in. And I mean, I've only watched this kid play twice, but he seems to be developing into uh, a raw sniper, if you will, right? And one interesting thing is you have the other, tweener Greenbird guys, right? You have the guys like Hamza and you have like Junaid, and they were watching him, and they just kind of poked me and like, what do you think about this guy? I'm like, he looks like he's the real deal, and he's like, you'll see in a couple of years he'll probably be one of the best ball hockey players in the Muslim community, and so there's high hopes for this kid, and so and also when you say kid, like, and to be able to do what he's doing amongst men as well as something else, right? It's like with the kids, they end up losing body position, or he's not scared at all to get into the spots that he needs to score. And like as a defenseman, you know that if you come into the slot, I'm going to punish you, and he doesn't seem scared at all, right? So credit to this kid, and I look forward to watching his career develop.
Absolutely.
I remember in with the warm up for week 2, he was warming up. I was having a conversation with someone, and we're talking about how he was hyped up and looking at him warm up. And I won't name this person, but they're like, "There's no way this guy is going to be as good as just looking at his warm up. He looks terrible." And lo and behold, like he comes in and he's taking the league by storm. So.
Warm-ups mean nothing, man. In warm-ups, everybody has like this crazy slap shot, and that's all they do. Yet
They
in the
always hit the
game,
net
they
and-
never. Well, they don't even get to take a slap shot, first of all. So I don't know why people practice it. Only people who should be practicing slap shots in warm-ups are maybe the defensemen. That's it.
It's a good point.
But anyways, enough of my ranting. Player of the week, GC Burger Player of the week is none other than Mr. Rizwan Khaler. 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points, and he seems very happy in one picture, and then he's very sad in the other. I don't know if it's because he's missing Ali, but clearly he doesn't need Ali.
Ali doesn't
Yeah,
need him.
he had a great game. Like Riz is one of those guys as well that even if he's not putting up points on the scoreboard, he's still contributing elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had to play against him, right? He's not an easy guy to play against. He's still very much capable of outmuscling guys and also putting the ball in the net. So credit to Riz, and I'm assuming he lives in the West End, so hopefully he treats his team to some GC burger. It's hard to. I was there yesterday actually, and it's hard to spend $50 there alone. I mean,
Oh, definitely. There's no way.
I mean, you ate for two,
I
right?
think these
Omar?
guys.
Right.
I think
Omar
these
ate for
guys
two,
who.
though, so I mean.
I
Yeah.
think
this is a
guys
safe
who,
space, Salman.
you know what, guys
Come
who
on,
are forwards, if they win this, they should take the opposing goalie out for GC burgers.
Nice. That's a true testament to brotherhood.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, I think that was it for the highlights and recaps. Let's quickly go over. What is it? How many people do we have here? Here we go. So let's go over tomorrow's games really quickly. We want to keep this pretty brief. So I'll just throw up the schedule here. And you guys can kind of talk. So the first game is Haya versus Iman.
Yeah.
It's
It's like Wilson. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Does anyone know Home Improvement?
Yeah. Talking over the fence.
Yeah.
Here.
Yo,
The
but
kids
no,
don't understand.
It's okay. It's all right.
No. We'll do it.
Okay, that's better. That's a nice
There
one.
you go.
That's a good look. Yeah.
All right, Haya versus Iman. Is Haya going to get their first win of the season?
I mean, if you want your first win of the season, it seems like Iman seems to be a good opportunity, or has been as
At
been
least
as
at
of
8
late.
p.m. At least at
It
8
is 8
p.m.
p.m. right? So
Yeah.
I think the idea here is that both teams need to kind of consider coming on time. And when I mean on time, I don't mean at 8. I mean at 7:30. Typically is when you want to get there, get your stretches in or whatever it is. But nobody should be dressing on the floor, in my opinion. If you're
Except
doing that,
Raza.
then you're on Mobin's list, right? And you don't want to be on Mobin's list. And I think it's going to boil down to the defensive ability of Iman, who was touted as having one of the strongest defenses in the league, and whether or not they're able to stop all the firepower that Haya has, inclusive of Mr. Siddiqui. So we'll see how it goes, inshallah, and I think it's going to come down to whoever has the best defense. Can somebody remind me who's the goalie on Haya?
It's Adam Sayed. So you're in tough.
Adam Sayed. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I forgot to mention that
this-
last game too. It's like really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, this should be an interesting because I think the guys on my team they're all kind of buddies. So I assume that this game will have a little bit extra motivation for these guys.
Let's drill through these guys real quick. The second game is Rida versus Ikhlas at 9 p.m. Salman, since you're on this.
I think we got this one, inshallah. I mean,
Wow.
we don't have the backup goalie right anymore. So this is the regular
Sharash,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully he's a little shaky. He's a little rusty.
Well, he might be well rested, man. He was on vacation.
Yeah.
He was in a nice place. Like he might.
He played hockey last Sunday, so he's good to go.
Okay, so let's see what happens. We're missing a couple of guys too, not to make excuses, but we'll see what happens.
But you're there.
Confident in the squad. Yeah, there you go, man. There you go.
But
Third
he's-
line, what's up?
Game 3, Asan versus Taqwa. So Asan just coming off their first win. Taqwa still looking for it. Ahmad, your prediction here?
I thought you were going to take this. This is your game. You know what? I think this is going to be a battle of the bottom goalers. I'm going to go with Taqwa. I think their speed is going to take advantage of Isan. The X factor will probably be Black Bear in net for Isan Ashfaq.
Thing about Black Bear is that he's streaky, right? When he's playing well, he is unbeatable. But then if you get a couple of quick ones on him, then he gets a little shaky. So I think for Taqwa, it's going to come down to not playing too fancy. Because I know the talent level is insane on our team for a forward standpoint. But we also tend to get too fancy and make that extra pass. I think we just need to simplify it. Enter the zone, dump it in if we have to, shoot a net, and try to get a rebound. Like, we have to get some blue-collar garbage goals here. That's the only way we're going to get out of this.
The other thing about Ashfaq is he never gives up, so he's a battler. So even those rebounds are not easy to get on.
Absolutely. What is Abdulaziz Khan saying? If Isawi can play 50% of how he plays gym hockey, we should be fine. What do you have to say to that? Homer?
I mean, I might be entering my gym hockey phase. Maybe my play has declined to the point where I can only go from end to end in a gym. But no, thank you. It's very kind of you. I know I've been having fun. I've been playing pickup hockey in the gym with some of the brothers from the league, mostly from the West End,
Yeah.
and it's been great. It's been fun.
Oh, I mean, your shot works out in the gym. I mean, in fact, I got to know you from gym hockey, if you remember back in the day, right?
Yes,
We
I
won our
remember.
cup together, and it
Yeah,
was great because you could just shoot from the other end of the gym and still score.
yeah. The ISNA gym is a little bit bigger than that. I'm not able to quite do that, but actually, it's nice. I think that in gym hockey, because you're able
Let's
to what?
let's go to 11 p.m. game
Hey man, I was
and
talking.
stop talking about.
Oh, sorry. Salman's upset because he can't score in the arena or the gym. So I mean, it's fine. Let's just go to the last game.
Hey! I do my best. All right.
All right, fine, Salman. Talk about game number 4. Will you Subber versus Yakin? Go
I
ahead.
mean, Subber, man. Come on now. Let's keep
4
the
0.
streak
You got
alive.
anything piled
Four
up?
0.
You interrupted
Yeah,
me to
man.
say that.
No, I interrupted you for another reason that I'll message you about later.
Doesn't want you to
Oh,
mention
Yeah.
other organizations. Come on, Mr.
Yeah. Come
OC.
on.
Read
it's
between the
pickup
lines.
hockey, man. Listen, spread the love. But I
Speaking of
look
other organizations, real
this.
quick, I gotta give a shout out to Hamza Jogiet for his little Michigan play that he did. It's all over the interwebs. That was a fantastic play. For those who don't know,
It
he
was.
did a Michigan in ball hockey, not the same way, but still lots of skill
As
required.
close as you can get to one.
Yeah,
So many haters, eh? So
I
many haters
know.
in the
Yeah, I
comments.
read the comments. It's like, oh, I can do that. It's almost so easy.
Yeah, I'd
Really?
love to see you do
Yeah,
that. I'd
yeah.
love
Like
to
if
see
you
you
look
do
at the
that.
video, like you
In
see
a
this,
game.
like
Do it in a game.
At the
Yeah.
high
yeah.
level game, yeah. It's like,
Come
But
on
and
now.
that was like that would be considered to be tier A as well, right? So like that where he was playing. So it's not easy, and shout out to him. Brave of him to even try it.
yeah.
Um,
So I predict a bunch of people are going to be doing it for the next few weeks
I
until
tried
the
it. I tried it. It didn't work
GMs will
though.
start shouting at them.
Yeah, but look, this 11 p.m. game
Yeah.
is probably the game of the night, I would say, because you
Mhm.
have Suber who, in my opinion, are getting maybe their hardest test yet with regards to the skill that's on Yakin, right? So
Mhm.
what's going to be interesting to see is whether or not uh, Suber can handle a test of that nature, and
Mhm.
if they can, I think that we would probably be dubbing them the real deal at that point, right? So not to say that that what they've accomplished thus far has not been impressive, but I do think that is one of the ones that will put like a rubber stamp and say, look, Supper is the team to beat at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's what 1/3. They've actually played 1/3 of their season, right? Because they
Yeah,
played an extra game. So they're undefeated 1/3 way through the season. So that's got to count for something.
It's going to come down to chemistry, I think, too, right? Because I think Subber has that chemistry. I mean, Yakin does too, but it really comes down to chemistry. So I think Subber is going to probably take the game, but it's going to be a really good match.
I always wanted to do this with Sully. Play music, play them off with music.
ah,
With the Grammys and Oscars and everything.
Yeah.
Anyways, boys, it was great having you guys. It's obviously much more fun with more people. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you for those who watched live and who are probably listening to this in their car the next day, wishing that they could have watched us live.
put that hat away,
Well, I
man.
will see you tomorrow.
So long, guys. Take care.
All right,
Thanks,
guys,
Hong
take
All
care.
right,
guys.
long boys.